Hey guys, this is Women's Grandmaster Sabina Foysher. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, 15 minutes or less day-to-day chess games analysis. I'm sorry about the little stumble there yesterday. I was playing a tournament in Dallas and then drove back really late at night, and I didn't get home until this morning, so I couldn't get on uploading the new video. So I've prepared the bonus video for you. For the moment, let us start with the first game between Matisons and Rubinstein. This game was played in 1929, maybe a little bit old, but it definitely shows some very important points about how to play against somebody who's just playing for win. Hopefully you enjoy my title as well, Rubinstein The Grinder. So let's start seeing the game and see if my title works with the game. It went on e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop takes c6. The Spanish exchange variation. D takes c6. And here white has two main continuations. One of them is d4 directly, which was actually played in the game between Matisons and Rubinstein, and the other one is castle. Of course, knight takes e5 is not possible because of queen d4, attacking both the knight and the pawn. The knight has to go back to f3, queen takes e4 check, queen e2, the queens get traded off, and now bishop g4, and black has the bishop pair. This king is quite badly placed in the center. I'm going to castle long, rook e8 check. Maybe if I'm able to give away the bishop pair and double your pawns, I'll do that. So this is definitely a very nice position for black. So white does not want to enter this. That's why, you know, either castle or d4. Let us see a little bit this castle first, because this is a line that is mostly played nowadays. With the castle, white is actually threatening now to capture an e5, because now queen d4 is not possible anymore. If knight f3, queen takes e4, rook e1 is just securing the queen. So it forces black to play f6, which is somewhat a weakening move on the white squares on the king side. So here white again has two main ideas. Well, in fact, one main idea, just two moves to kind of get ready to do it. One is d4, which is quite often played. And if e takes d4, knight takes d4. And here you can see that in this position, white has, on the king side, a mobile majority. So I can create a passed pawn. If we take all the pieces off the board, white is going to win this endgame, as he can just come with the king, of course, play f4, e5, create a passed pawn, and slowly start pushing it, and then go with the king either on one side or the other, win some pawns, and end up winning the game. Whereas black, unfortunately, he has blocked majority, and as you can see, although there are 4 on the queen side, 4 pawns, these two are double, so for black it's going to be almost impossible to actually create a passed pawn. If you are interested in checking these ideas out and see how white is going to win the endgame in this particular position, make sure you check my next video, a game that I'm going to show between Lasker and Capablanca. But meanwhile, let's see what's the plus for black. Why is he playing this line still? Well, the reason it is still played is because black also has something. He has the bishop pair. So with the bishop pair, he's going to start, you know, creating some kind of attack on the king side, and, you know, making sure that he won't be trading pieces to enter in the pawn endgame, which is lost for him. So that's the plus for black. A very nice and playable position. So given that this d4 is quite all right for black, white has come with a new idea to play rook to e1. And if you're playing this with white, make sure you check Mamediyarov against Rager game that was played in their match in Vienna this year. So rook e1, the idea of rook e1 is to play d4, and then when I capture back, now play e5. So open up the e file on the king. So here, if black plays c5, which actually happened in that game, there's c3, of course, and if knight e7, d4. Make sure you check the game Amediarov Rager if you would like to play this line either with white or black. Let us go back to our game Matisons against Rubinstein. This is a very interesting game. Like I said, Matisons is playing for a draw here. So he went for d4, e takes d4, and here queen takes d4. You know, exchanging the queens, it's a little bit suspicious, we could say, because white normally wants to keep some more pieces on the board, especially the queens, to be able to attack. So queen takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop d6. This line is still played. I was checking, and I saw some games with bishop d7. Seems that this idea with bishop d7 and long castle is more popular nowadays. So, but bishop d6 was the move played by Rubinstein. Bishop e3, of course. As you can see, on those times they were respecting the principles of developing their pieces nicely. c5. This knight in d4 can always come towards f5, so we want to make sure we're kicking it away quite fast. Knight to e2, f6. Okay, this is now a move to control e5 and stop white from their push for the moment. Bishop f4. As you can see, white is just looking on, exchanging pieces. Black is just developing. Takes. Now I have undoubled my pawns. However, I don't have the bishop pair anymore, and I have technically a weak pawn, backwards pawn on the d file. So let's see how white decided to use that to his advantage. Knight f4, bishop f7, knight c3. This is a typical idea when we have two knights and an outpost in d5. We want to make sure we're bringing both our knights so that in case our opponent will capture in d5, we capture back with a piece. We don't want to capture back with the pawn in this case because we want to make sure this pawn in d6 remains a weakness, and in case there's going to be knight d5, bishop takes d5, let's say e takes d5, then this pawn disappears. There is more space for white, but there aren't that many pieces, so that space advantage is not as important as normally. So black played knight e7, again bringing up the piece in case white would be playing knight d5. Of course, we're just capturing, and this position should be quite alright for us. So of course white did not play knight d5, he castled long side like this. White is bringing an extra piece to control d5, so now if I'm going to put one of my knights in d5, I will remain with an outpost even if you end up trading pieces. And that's exactly what happened. Long castle, knight d5. Black didn't hurry to capture in e5. In d5, I'm sorry. He played rook h e8, f3. Okay, now it's time to capture, and we have this position, which looks quite alright. I mean, white is has a nice outpost in d5. Black's d6 pawn remains weak. You know, it seems that this would probably be a draw. So white played rook h d1. Of course, we don't want to capture here because with which pawn do you think black is going to capture? With the d pawn or f pawn? I hope you took a moment to think about this because black would want to capture with the f pawn. And if taking with the d pawn, okay, it looks quite equalish. Most likely it's going to end up in a draw. But by taking with the f pawn, although I remain with this weakness and the d5 outpost, white won't be able to do anything. And in fact, I'm going to bring my king to d6 to e6, and I'm going to do the minority attack on the king side. I know normally it's in the queen's gambits we're doing with white the minority attack, but here it's also a minority, right? 2 against 3 or 3 against 4. and we're going to push these pawns to g4. Of course, rook will be behind. We're going to create at least one weak pawn, if not two, and black is going to have some chances to win this position. So it's not that easy for white. Although it seems like they are playing for a draw, it's not quite as easy anymore. So now rook h to d1. Of course, you know, I'm maintaining my rook in d5 active. How are you going to win? Let us see. Rook takes d5. Rook takes, of course. You don't want to capture with the pawn to allow rook to e8 here. So he captured rook takes d5, king d7. It's an endgame. We have to bring the king towards the center. c4 was a big mistake for white's side. And you're going to see at the end of the game why this was really a bad move. Of course, you know, white should just bring his king towards the center. Why not? You know, bring it towards e3. He has more pawns, technically a majority on this side. It's not really a majority because the d pawn controls e5, so neither white nor black will be able to create passed pawn on either side for the moment, but I'm bringing my king towards the side where I have more pawns, and you know, maybe I can start pushing some pawns. But c4 was a big mistake. Let's see how black exploited it. g6. First of all, I'm controlling all of the squares that your rook can go to on the 5th rank. King comes towards the center, king e6. King comes towards the center, somehow strange. Most likely, again, he had to come towards e3, not c3. f5. You might think it's strange to trade and actually create a majority for white, but in fact it's not that way, because actually what I'm doing with black is I'm creating a weakness. A passed pawn, but a weak pawn in white's camp. So capture, g takes f5, rook goes back to defend g2, which is going to be attacked with rook g8 eventually. Now, if you like Capablanca's style, you probably remember that he used to play on one side and then one move on the other side. So this is similar to what Rubinstein did in this game. He played b5. First f5, trading the pawns, now b5. Trying to create his own pass pawn. If you capture in b5, just imagine this would be great for black. I just have two pawns. I'm going to start pushing them. The rook comes to a8 using the weakness of the a2 pawn. So this would be definitely winning for black. But of course, white played b3. h5. It's time to play a move on the other side. g3. Okay, that move was not very necessary at this moment, but eventually he has to do it. Otherwise, h4, rook g8, and eventually h3 is going to come, and you will be forced to play g3. f4, king f5, takes. Now g3 is weak, right? Rook g8, check, king e6, one more check, king d7. So you see, as you can see, black has not stayed any move. He's been improving his position since the beginning of the endgame. g4. No, are we trading? No, of course not. f3 is weak now. Rook f8, good move, threatening in f3. Rook e3. h4. You have helped me create a passed pawn. I'm going for the queen. And here, probably, white could have still try to hold on to a draw in this position, but his last move just gave away the game. a4, and now after b takes a4, rook e8. The rooks, even if white plays rook d3, my rook gets active and I start pushing the h pawn. And here, after king d2, this position, take a moment to think about black's final move. d5. Using the c4. Remember, I was telling you c4 was a mistake for white. Here you can see what happens. d5, and I'm basically creating another passed pawn and winning the game. I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for my next videos. Goodbye.